Superdome. I'm Jerry Devine, and I'm here along with Brett Kepner. We're going to be bringing you action tonight from the Louisiana Superdome in New Orleans as we bring you the U.S. Hot Rod Association Mud and Monster Racing Championships. Brett, another night of great racing action ahead of us.
No question about it. Super Modified Mud Racing Championship Monster Truck action all on the U.S. Hot Rod Association National Event Tour for 1990. And as you see right now, our monster truck track is rather unusual. Standard 150-foot course with lots of shutdown area, but something new and unusual. A couple of, I guess, speed bumps, you might want to call them, Jerry, right off the starting line.
That's going to be real interesting to watch because the drivers have a whole new chance to get over those bumps and then into the first set of cars.
Now, on the mud racing pit, it is, of course, a standard 80-foot championship mud racing course on U.S. Hot Rod Association action. That is, of course, the way it is across the country. But you'll notice that the disqualification boundaries are up 80 feet into the shutdown area. And remember, in mud racing, you've got to stop these machines as quick as you get them going.
That's right. It's 80 feet to start, 80 feet to stop.
Something else we've been seeing in 1990 at U.S. Hot Rod Association championship events across the country, Jerry, is kind of a pre-race ritual of crushing the cars with a monster tank. What benefit are we going to see from the black gold van?
Well, he's going to be crushing the cars down because the cars are now more or less like they would come off the street. And he's going to be crushing them down so both trucks will have an equal advantage. And you'll notice that the cars in the other lane have not been crushed down totally yet. The black gold is going to swing around and pass over these cars. This is a heavy machine, so he really squeezes them down so to make these racing service very equal.
20,000 pounds of Army M4 personnel carrier with a Ford van body on top, supercharged Ford power. That's a wild machine, but it's not nearly as wild as the monster trucks we'll be seeing next in qualifying. Stay with us. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, as the U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship Mud Racing and Monster Truck Series is just about ready to continue. And, Jerry, we've got monster trucks coming up.
Monster truck qualifying, and this will give us the pairings for the first round of competition. Coming up first, it's going to be Bigfoot, the current points leader, driven tonight by John Pyatt. He'll be going against Clint Dadgett with Thumper 2. Here we go. And Bigfoot gets there first. But remember, this is qualifying, so it doesn't really matter who gets to the finish line first.
Now, on the slow-motion replay against the electronic timers, you could see John Pyatt with a lot of air, but look at Clint Dadgett and the beautiful green Thumper Ford. 5:56 for Dadgett will put him number 2 behind the Big Blue Ford's 4.72 second run. That's quite a run for this 150-foot course.
It really is, and these machines are really running great. Coming up next, it'll be Rocky Mountain Thunder, driven by Nick Jackson. He'll be going against Evil Force, Ray Purkowski of St. Louis. Wild run between these two trucks, both getting down, shut down all right. Let's check the times now as we look at the instant replay. Rocky Mountain Thunder with a 5.45 second run.
I'll tell you what, you can see, even with Evil Force running 5.55 seconds, only a 10th behind him, you can see where that new speed bump just off the line is keeping these guys in the air a lot. Very, very little time on the ground before they hit the cars.
Definitely makes a difference.
It seems to be actually evening out the competition.
All right, coming up next, it's Kid Stuff, driven by Norman Grogan. This competition pulling up alongside of him will be the Chi-Town Hustler, driven by Kevin Dabney. Both machines ready to go. And the Chi-Town Hustler getting there first. Let's check his time now.
Well, you can see obvious problems for the brand new Kid Stuff Chevrolet, never really getting a decent start off the line. When he hit the cars, everything was fine, but by that time he had already lost a solid 2 seconds. The elapsed time, 7.10 seconds for the brand new Chevrolet entry. Now, on the other lane, Kevin Dabney with the Chi-Town Hustler, believe it or not, Nissan King cab-bodied machine is a rear-engine Chevrolet. You can see the difference as it leaves the starting line. The youngster from North Carolina who's still been in this sport about 7 years. It's a lot different weight transfer in that rear-engine small block Chevy powered machine. You can see the difference is about 3 or 4 truck lengths at the finish line.
And here comes Taurus. Jack Woolman from Granite City, Illinois. Now, this is the new breed of monster racing truck. All fiberglass body and a special design chassis just for racing. A great solo run by Jack Woolman.
No question, that was a lot of air for the Illinois-based Chevrolet. Trying to beat 4.72 seconds. His arch rival Bigfoot in the lead. He runs 4.90 seconds. Watch this comeback, though, on the landing. Big sideways bounce, but it's good enough for the #2 qualifying spot. Jerry, you got to admit, this rivalry is one of the hottest in the sport. Taurus versus Bigfoot, both of them are out for blood.
Ford against Chevrolet.
Well, that means that Bigfoot will receive a bye run in front of this huge New Orleans Superdome crowd in the very first round. John Pine will get a chance to check the course one more time. It'll be interesting to see which lane he takes. After that, Kevin Dabney in the Chi-Town Hustler rear-engine machine takes on the Floridian, Clint Dadgett in the Thumper Ford. In the next pairing in the very first round, we'll get a chance to see the #2 qualifier, Taurus, and, of course, Jack Woolman take on St. Louis-based Ray Perkowski in the Evil Force tow truck. And finally, in that first round of monster truck competition, we'll see the new Rocky Mountain Thunder Ford of Nick Jackson taking on a brand new Chevrolet, the Kid Stuff entry. Indeed, with the #1 and 2 qualifiers, Bigfoot and Taurus involved in that bitter rivalry. Should they pair up in eliminations, it could be one of the wildest races of the 1990 season so far in U.S. Hobbit Association racing. But coming up next, the quickest and fastest off-road machines in the world. The U.S. Hobbit Association Super Modified Mud Racers are next. Stay with us. Welcome back to the Superdome in New Orleans, Louisiana, as we get ready for the qualifying round of the U.S. Hobbit Association Super Modified Mud Racers.
First pair of machines rolls to the line. It's going to be the Sandpicker, driven by James Tolleson from Bivens, Texas. Long-time racer, been in this a long, long time. He'll be going against Keith Metcalf from La Place, Louisiana, with his Jeep. Pair of Chevy-powered machines on the line ready to go as we go into qualifying. They're looking for the fast 4 machines to come back for the Camel Shootout. Screaming through the mud. Boy, you can hear those superchargers wind up. It's the Sandpacker getting there first with a 272.
Actually, Tolleson apparently had big-time problems. The front end locking up solid on the machine. You can see he's disappointed. The longtime veteran, a 2.72-second run. But, of course, the first pair always spectacular with that standing water on the course. The carbureted gas-burning Jeep funny car of Metcalf runs 2.84 seconds. Believe it or not, still not as quick as Tolleson, even after he had problems.
Oh, look at this one. This is called the Stud, driven by Mike Pacina. He's from Medailleur, Louisiana. He'll be going against Dick Wilson from Dade City, Florida, in an 86 Jeep.
Dick Wilson, 2-time winner of the U.S. Hobbit Association National Trail.
Whoa, and Dick Wilson almost hits the disqualification line.
He is literally within 1 foot of that disqualification marker. The 2-time winner at 2.43 seconds, getting a little sideways, but really steered in here. And now he locks up the brakes and literally stops within inches of that disqualification zone. In the other lane, Mike Placida, the low-riding T-Roadster, still appears to be too low. He's come back from a crash last year. You can almost see the mud going into the intake. He still runs 2.59 seconds.
Well, here come the next pair now. It'll be the Mud Hole, driven by Larry D'Antoni. He's from Biloxi, Mississippi. He's a policeman when he's not mud bog racing, and going against him will be the Outrageous, driven by Larry Kalikas from Kenner, Louisiana.
Kalikas with a brand new machine in the near lane, and I'll tell you, look in front of those vehicles. We've already developed some huge ruts that are going to affect the starts of these machines.
A Christmas tree start starting these machines. Here we go. This driver's about ready to go.
Throttle hanging wide open, as apparently when the machine went upside down, it jammed the throttle linkage, just actually the mud against the fuel injection scoop, jammed the throttle linkage open. They finally get the motor shut off, and now they're pulling him out of the car. The policeman from Biloxi, Mississippi looks okay. We'll have to wait. He's all right. A wild runner. I'll tell you, the machine seemed to be pretty straight on that run. You can hear the crowd, and obviously Mr. D'Antoni is more than a little upset about crashing that car. Like I said, it appeared to be plenty straight. The machine missing on a few cylinders, but had a lot of power. Wheels up, then it gets completely sideways at the finish line. You can see the tires dig in as it goes upside down. Then the throttle hangs open, but he manages to get the engine shut off. That was a heck of a move by Larry D'Antoni.
The important thing is the roll cage doing its job.
That's certainly what allowed him to walk away, and as you can see, the crew pushes the machine over. There's really only minimal fiberglass damage to the roof of that 1932 Ford. I don't think it'll be that much work to really get that car running again, Jerry.
No, they'll probably be able to get it back running, but boy, look at this.
It's going to take a cleaning job. You can see where the throttle linkage actually was hung open. In the meantime, Larry Kolikas over in the other lane was running a 2.87-second lap with his brand new, all magnesium, outrageous machine, carbureted Chevrolet entry. Not bad at all for its first effort, considering the ruts we've got.
Qualifying continues. This is Berserk, driven by Tommy Killingsworth. Tommy is from Macomb, Mississippi, and he'll be going against Clay Langley from Kansas City with the Nitro Express. Big wing over the Nitro Express. We're just about ready to go. Getting there first. Whoa! And real close to that disqualification line.
Boy, both of them. Clay Langley, as we see here on the replay, had a good run going at 2.89 seconds. The winningest racer in the history of U.S. Honda Association mud racing stops just short of that boundary. Here, the 1932 Ford Coupe with fuel-injected Chevrolet power. Watch him get on the brakes. Yeah, you bet. Not locking him up, though. Man knows how to drive, cutting it within inches down there.
All right, next up, it's going to be the Terminator, driven by Chuck Jacobs from New Orleans. He'll be going against the Bounty Hunter, driven by Buddy Kuhn of Kentwood, Louisiana.
It's an interesting pair of machines. Kuhn with a basically stock Chevy truck. Then, of course, the machine in the far lane, as radical as they come. Machines bog at one point or another on that course. Kuhn with the big full-body Chevrolet truck manages to come from behind. Watch this launch. Right there at bogs, he grits his teeth, gets right back into the throttle. The elapsed time, though, for the full-body Chevy, 3 seconds flat. Not good enough to get in the quick four. You had to run quicker than 2.84 seconds at this point. And the Bounty Hunter will not make it into the Camel Shootout semifinals. In the other lane, Chuck Jacobs in the Terminator from New Orleans. The beautiful 89 Chevy S10 had its problems at mid-range. He slows to a 4.23-second run. Not nearly as fast as it looked here.
Well, qualifying continues here at the Louisiana Superdome. We got lots more mud and monster racing action yet to go, so stay with us.
Count on it.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Superdome in New Orleans as the U.S. Hot Rod Association Championship Mud Racing and Monster Truck Battle is about to begin. I'm Brett Kevner, along with Jerry Devine. We have completed qualifying, and now it's first round of Monster Truck action, Jerry.
First truck coming up, it's going to be Bigfoot. driven tonight by John Payant. John is the low qualifier in tonight's event, so he gets the single bye run.
Definitely seemed to like that solo effort, and of course John Payant trying to see how close he can come to a qualifying effort of 4.74 seconds. There you see that new bump that has already affected the racing quite a bit. At 4.88 seconds though, Jerry, he looks like he's doing plenty strong. Beautiful leap there.
He certainly made a hard charge on that single run. He really didn't have to run it that hard, but he did it anyway, putting it on a great show for the people here at the Superdome.
Like I said, at 4.88 seconds, he's got his work cut out for him.
All right, it's the Chi-Town Hustler now, driven by Kevin Dabney, and he'll be going against Thumper 2, driven by Clint Dadgett. Thumper 2 takes the win. He'll go into the semifinals.
A lot of smoke out of the Florida-based Ford, though. If I had to guess, Jerry, I'd say that was a power steering pump that went away, spraying the hot exhaust headers with the fluid. That's where the smoke comes from. A seesaw battle. You could see the Thumper get the whole shot here on the replay. It moves first as it hits that first dirt rise. And at 5.53 seconds, he was not on the best run he could have made. And the other lane at that time, of course, Kevin Dabney had moved in on him, but then stalled, and that allowed the green Ford to cross the line smoking, but still a winner. The Chi-Town machine in the other lane, 0.2 of a second behind that at 5.78 seconds.
Continuing on now in the first round, here's the next pair of trucks coming to the line. Force, driven tonight by Ray Pelski. This is the 22,000-pound tow truck. We'll be going against Morris, Jack Woolman.
Whoa! Completely sideways as he lands after the last jump, and indeed, Jack Woolman, the Taurus Chevrolet, will take that win, but not without a wild ride. You certainly have to hand credit as well to Ray Perkowski. The 22,000-pound Ford actually got the whole shot. This thing spent very little time on the ground here before actually hitting the ramp to the cars. At 6.23 seconds, though, at about the half-track point, he found himself well behind the purple Chevrolet from Granite City, Illinois. The Taurus machine, in the meantime, driven by the elder half of the Willman family racing team, Jack Sr., definitely got some air. You can see Perkowski leaving the line, but keep your eyes on the machine in the other lane as the Taurus Chevrolet lands just once or twice before hitting the car ramp, then hits the air. Watch this bounce, though, that sends it sideways over the finish line area. Perkowski only a half of a truck behind. Locking up the brakes, obviously, to try and keep within the shutdown area. Still a wild battle. This should be interesting as well. Another Ford versus Chevy match.
That's right. This is be the kid stuff, driven by Norman Grogan. And he'll be going against Rocky Mountain Thunder, Nick Jackson. This will round out our semi-finalists.
Slow-motion replay, you can see the Rocky Mountain Thunder machine of Nick Jackson taking quite a ride there, spending very little time on the ground before hitting the ramp to the cars, and I mean very little time. At 6.27 seconds, though, watch him at the finish line as the machine definitely gets crossed up, and Jackson does quite a job of keeping this thing straight, Jerry.
Well, that gives us our first round winners and our semifinalists. Let's take a look now at Rocky Mountain Thunder.
One more time, watch this machine take two hard bounces. Really, that's the only chance he has to apply throttle before hitting the cars. Then at the finish line, the rear end starts to come around to the right. He definitely keeps himself in a straight mode there with a lot of work in the cockpit.
Well, here's our pairings now, Brett, for the semifinal round.
Well, the number 1 and number 2 qualifiers have advanced into the semifinals, and that's what the crowd is here to see, a possible Bigfoot versus Taurus confrontation. In the second round of competition, actually the semifinals, it will be Bigfoot, John Payant, the current World Championship points leader, taking on the Thumper Ford of Clint Dadgett from Florida. And in the other pair, it'll be Taurus, Jack Willman in the Chevrolet, taking on Nick Jackson in the Rocky Mountain Thunder Ford. Taurus, the last Chevrolet left in this field, Jerry.
Well, the number 1 qualifier, number 2 qualifier still in the program. Bigfoot, Ford, and Taurus Chevrolet. It's going to be a battle. Coming up, the Mud and Monsters semifinals. So stay with us.
Welcome back to the Superdome in New Orleans as we prepare to determine the finalists in the Super Modified Mud Racing segment of this U.S. Hobbit Association National event. Jerry, the first pair, Ford versus Chevy, Florida versus Texas.
Here we go. Chances are Bubba Clements doing the driving. Chances are his competitor getting ready to go in the other lane is the A-Team, driven by Dick Wilson. Really close to that disqualification line.
No question, both drivers on the brakes hard. The Texas driver and the chances are machine Bubba Clements had run 2.12 seconds in the first round. He slows this time with a little bit of tire speed on the line to 2.45 seconds. That may have given Dick Wilson the advantage. This ground level shot showed you how sideways he was at the finish line, and by 0.12 of a second on the brakes at 2.33 seconds, Wilson goes to the final. But now it's defending champion Larry Jarrett in the far lane against the newcomer.
All right, rolling to the line very slowly. Locomotion, Larry Jarrett. And he'll be going against, all blown out, Steve Baltazar. Two machines, and they are poised and ready to go. Winner of this one goes into the final. Here we go. Whoa! Look at this, he loses a wheel.
Incredible run for Larry Jarrett. The machine literally goes across the finish line sideways, trying to get into the final round. And I'll tell you what, that was one of the best starting line launches we've seen at this event. It looked like the wheel came off well before the finish line. In fact, it looked like it came off on its own. I don't think it made contact with anything. It's apparently an axle sheared or something. The ground crew going out to salvage. There you see the machine losing the wheel at about the 65-foot marker. Look at the elapsed time, 1.93 seconds. A track record by 0.2 of a second. The first ever 1 second elapsed time in the history of this event, Jerry.
Can you believe that? He set the track record on 3 wheels, going across the finish line on just 3 wheels. Look at this launch.
Wheels up, absolutely perfect. Steve Baltazar in the near lane at 2.39 seconds. He had a great run going, but watch, completely sideways at the finish line for Larry Jarrett, and he keeps the machine upright. That was certainly a job in itself.
What would you say? That looks like a part failure.
It seems like it was either a broken axle, like I said, or possibly the A-frame front suspension actually breaking itself. But regardless, it's a miracle that the exposed part of the axle housing did not dig in and flip that car. There you see it was apparently the A-frame that broke right on the front end. Now we're going to have to find out if defending champ Larry Jarrett, who just set a track record, can fix that thing before the final round.
Well, let's take another look at that awesome run.
From this angle, you can see that Jarrett got a slight hole shot, leading with the wheels up. But there you see Baltazar on a good run, actually a little close to the right-hand side of his lane. But now we determine the finalists in the Monster Truck War, Jerry.
Number 2, driven by Clint Dadgett. And he'll be going against his competitor, rolling up to the starting line, Bigfoot. John Pyan doing the driving.
Pyan, of course, the number 1 qualifier, and certainly you have to give credit to Clint Dadgett. He's done a great job with a heavyweight Ford coming out of Florida, making it all the way to the semifinals here. But obviously, Jerry, if he could get around the big blue Ford, it would be the biggest upset of this event.
Sure would, Brett. John Pyan, 27 years old, but Clint Dadgett is 10 years younger, just 17 years old, sitting behind the controls of Thumper 2.
Certainly has to be one of the youngest monster truck drivers in the country.
Does a great job of driving.
How many 17-year-olds in the world would love to be doing what this youngster is doing right now, lining up alongside Bigfoot in front of 40,000 fans?
Got to be exciting. It's Bigfoot.
But not by much. I'll tell you what, the crowd loves every minute of that. Again, that smoke problem that apparently is still the power steering problem for the Dadget family entry out of Florida. But John Pyatt comes from behind to win that match literally in a matter of inches. His quickest run of this event at the 470 zone. Thumper runs 483, and that loss by far his quickest run of the event. Beautiful leap. There you see the smoke as soon as it lands, as again that power steering problem comes back. But in the other lane, Bigfoot literally only a few inches out in front. The elapsed time for the Big Blue Ford had to be awesome if Dadget lost in 4.83 seconds. You can see the whole shot, an honest half-truck length by Dadget. And by the time they got to the cars, it was almost a full truck length. But here comes Pyatt, 4.63 seconds, and a win by less than a foot. Jerry, the quickest run of this event.
Well, that means that Bigfoot goes into the final, and the winner of this next race then will face Bigfoot. It's going to be Taurus, driven by Jack Woolman, Granite City, Illinois, going against Rocky Mountain Thunder. And it's Taurus, the Chevrolet, going into the finals against Bigfoot.
Blowout on that one. Nick Jackson never really in the hunt at all. But now that will set up, Jerry, the final round that the fans came to see. Ford and Chevy, Bigfoot versus Taurus. You can see an excellent starting line launch and a 4.70 second elapsed time and a rough landing for Jack Willman. That puts him only 0.07 of a second behind the Bigfoot Ford. This final could be absolute war.
It certainly will, Brett. And it's a similar contest that we found last November at the World Finals when Taurus and Bigfoot battled it out. And actually, Bigfoot lost that one as he rolled it over.
That was the first time Taurus got the Bigfoot, but now he has a chance to do it again in front of the highly partisan New Orleans crowd. So far, both machines solidly in the 4-second zone, only 0.07 of a second between them in the semifinal round wins. In the mud racing battle, it'll be Dick Wilson's Florida-based A-Team Chevy-powered Jeep against Steve Baldessar's brand-new supercharged Ford Ranger, called all blown out in an all-East Coast battle. But coming up in just a few minutes, a visitor from another planet comes to the Superdome, Jerry.
Vorian, the jet-powered transforming robot. Wait till you see what this machine will do. We're back at the Louisiana Superdome and the U.S. Hot Rod Association Mud and Monster Racing Championships. Brett, look at this machine. A beautiful machine owned by Larry Nagel.
Has to be one of the most impressive single vehicles in U.S. Hot Rod Association competition. Larry Nagel out of the Cleveland, Ohio area has put together one of the most astounding spectacles. Listen to the crowd as they are greeted by the extraterrestrial visitor, the one, the only Vorian.
Vorian has got a special message for us. Let's listen in and see what Vorian has to say.
Greetings, race fans. I am Vorian, and I have traveled far to bring you a message of encouragement from the masters of the galactic vortex. How many of you have come here today to witness the power? Though your technology is primitive by our standards, you have no idea how close you are to extraordinary breakthroughs in the propulsion sciences. I have come to this planet disguised as a mere jet car. When I travel the galaxies, I am able to cruise at velocities that approach the speed of light. Take heart. You need only understand that the only barriers which keep you from this attainment are the limitations in your own beliefs. I am drawn to these spectacles of power by the U.S. Hot Rod Association's Circuit of Champions. For it is here that triumph thrives in the heat of competition. It is you who will master the sudden advancement through your desire for greater power. Right here, in this very audience, there are children who possess the gift that will enable mankind to penetrate his present limitations. Young people who will build on the foundations of what you celebrate here today, just as the competitors of the hour have built on the knowledge of those who have gone before them. I have come to kindle the flame of aspiration and warn you to be ready, as the prospects for your future are great indeed. The technical progress you will experience in the next 5 years will exceed that of the previous 10,000 years of Earth history. So prepare for swift change, and don't be caught asleep at the wheel. Let me show you now what can happen if you allow complacency to rule your life. Understand this. The threat of warfare need not be a concern to your planet if you remain focused on advancing your technology. You are only a short step away from tapping new and unlimited sources of energy. I must leave you now and return to my secret identity as a jet car. Remember, this is the arena where human ingenuity moves machinery to new limits. So hang in there and enjoy your monsters of rock and roar.
Jerry, simply one of the most incredible machines ever on the U.S. Hot Rod Association National Event Trail. People love that vehicle.
No question, Brett, but here's some vehicles that you're really going to love. The finals of the Super Modifieds and the Monster Trucks. Coming up to the line right now, the two finalists in the Super Modified Mud Racing Division.
And what a battle it's going to be. Florida versus Rhode Island. Steve Baldassar, the incredible, all-blown-out, supercharged Ford-powered Ford Ranger in only its second event ever, taking on an already two-time national event winner, Florida's Dick Wilson in the incredible A-Team Jeep.
Well, let's watch them now as both drivers get ready. The crew members checking out the finals on the machines. Here we go, coming to the line. This is it. This is for the winner of the Super Modified Division. Over the disqualification line.
I can't believe it. Wilson wastes a potential win. Look at Baldassar, the left front wheel 2 feet in the air at 2.29 seconds. He was on the brakes hard to keep from going out of bounds, but look at the other lane. You can see Wilson at not more than 5 miles per hour going over the disqualification line. He wastes a run of 2.19 seconds. It would have been good enough for the win. Look how much he gets disqualified by. Maybe 10 feet.
He must have almost had a brake failure there in order not to get it stopped. But here comes the one we've been waiting for. Taurus, driven by Jack Woolman, going against the big blue Ford from St. Louis, Bigfoot.
This could be a heck of a battle. Pyatt, of course, we talked about the fact that the youngster behind the wheel of Bigfoot is leading the U.S. Hot Rod Association Camel World Championship standings. But the Taurus Chevrolet could move up tremendously with a win here tonight. And John Pyatt knows he's got to protect that points lead.
Oh, this is going to be an all-out battle, and both drivers are going to have the pedal down all the way.
Another Ford and Chevy matchup here in the final round of the Superdome. The U.S. Hot Rod Association's National Championship Series continues. This may be the wildest race of the last 2 seasons here.
Listen to the fans at the Superdome. They are going wild. They are getting ready. They're on their feet for this one. Get ready. Here we go.
Absolutely the most most incredible final round you could ever hope to see, and I honestly, Jerry, did not know who won it either. On the replay, you can see both machines lead as one. Look at the Taurus Chevrolet in the air. Only one touchdown before he hits the cars. The elapsed time, an incredible 4.38 seconds. Bigfoot blows him over. Now actually tags him down in the shutdown area. Absolutely incredible final round. 4.38 seconds for the Taurus Chevrolet, the quickest one of the event. Bigfoot, though, even quicker at 4.22 seconds. There, the motor explodes in midair. They land. Bigfoot comes across on the brakes, rear end of the air, tags the Taurus Chevrolet. But we've just gotten the word, Jerry, from the floor. Bigfoot is the official winner.
Unbelievable. Look at the smoke. You can hardly see Bigfoot in that cloud of engine smoke.
Simply one of the most fantastic final rounds anyone could ever hope to witness. Ford and Chevrolet, with the Ford exploding an engine in the air and winning the event. Their crew chief George Smith shakes John Pye's hand. Pyan in turn shakes that of Jack Wilman, the loser of the Taurus Chevrolet. What an unbelievable way to finish this event.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see what John Pyan has to say about this run.
After that ride, I would think he would have plenty to say about it. Such a bizarre way to complete that particular battle, blowing the motor and then coming over and actually touching his opponent. But still, he will get the win. John Pyan still somewhere, somehow, has enough inside left to smile about the whole ordeal.
Well, we're going to get a chance to talk with Jack Wilman and John Pyan, and also the winner of the Super Modified.
That's right, Steve Balazard, and only the second time out of his supercharged Ford Ranger as the Bigfoot team checks the engine damage underneath. The well-known Big Blue Ford of Bob Chandler. That will put them squarely in the #1 points position for at least another week.
We'll be back with those interviews right after this, so stay with us.
At the conclusion of one of the most amazing nights of competition in U.S. Hobbit Association history, we have our finalists of the Monster Truck War on the floor right now, including Jack Wilman. Jack, you had to be pretty happy with that performance. You picked up a lot of time.
Yeah, I felt pretty good. I got in the air over the hump there, and of course, it never did come back down on the ground. The back wheels kind of hit the ground, and I was in the throttle pretty hard, and Brett, she just went way in the air, you know, and of course, when you're in the air, you can't make very good time.
Any damage at all, Jack?
No, it's in good shape. No damage. Kind of foot run into the back of it there with his tire there, run into the rear tire. But no, there's no damage, Brett.
Experience had to play a big part in tonight's performance for you.
Yeah, and, you know, I've been in that situation a few times. And, of course, the thing that you do when you get in that situation, you rely on the throttle and just keep your foot away from everything else and just push on the throttle.
Well, where's Taurus headed for next?
My son will be competing down in Tampa. I'll be going to another event, which my son will have the other truck, the 89, which is our new racer. This is one of our racers, but it's not the latest model we come out with.
Well, congratulations, Jack, on a great job.
Well, thanks a lot, Brett.
Taking a look at the incredible engine-exploding flight of the Bigfoot Ford in the final round, we have John Pyan, the driver, down on the floor. And, John, at 4.22 seconds, you pulled a tremendous amount of power out of that machine in the final.
Yeah, I felt like I had a really good jump off the line. And first dirt mound, I got a really good drive towards the cars. And when I started shifting, going through the gears, I knew that I had a good run going.
Well, did Taurus get out of his lane, or did you bounce into his lane?
No, actually, it's my fault. When I come off the last set of cars, it kind of slid towards his side, and I was just on the brakes trying to stop before I hit him.
Well, you must be happy with the new design of the truck that you have tonight.
Yeah, I am. The Ford Bigfoot turned out really good tonight, and it ran well all night long. I'm real happy with what it did.
Well, you had to contend with a lot of different things in that final. Was it as violent as it appeared to be?
Yeah, I think on the last run I might have tore the motor up in that one, so we'll have to get it back to the shop and see what happens.
See you in Tampa next?
Oh, yeah, we'll be down here for sure.
Well, congratulations again, John. Great job.
Okay, thank you, Brad.
We also have Steve Balazard, the Rhode Island winner of the Super Modified Mud Ranks, with us. Can you hear us okay, Steve?
Yeah.
For a brand new truck, it ran great tonight.
It performed pretty good. It's only the second week that it's been out, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Any damage tonight?
No damage at all. We were a little worried because on our first run last week, we hit the wall with it in New York. But we got it back together, thanks to all my friends and everything helping. So we did okay. We're happy.
Well, congratulations, Steve. Great job.
Okay, thanks, Brett.
Certainly some happy drivers there, including Steve Baldazard with a big win and only the second event ever for his brand new supercharged Ford Mud Racer. And Jack Wilman, Jerry, didn't seem too upset with that runner-up performance at Monster Trucks either.
A great night of racing. We'll be back with the 1990 Camel Mud and Monster point standings. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Brett, let's check out the point standings now in the Monster Trucks.
Well, Jerry, in the U.S. Hot Rod Association Camel Mud Monster World Championship point standings, the Bigfoot team with John Pyatt behind the wheel still leads. As a matter of fact, with about a 100-point advantage right now over Chuck Pawkins, the guy they call Psycho in the Excalibur Chevy. The big change was in the number 3 spot, though. Moving up 2 positions was Jack Wilman and, of course, the Taurus Chevrolet based on his runner-up here. And the only other change in the top 10 based on this event came in the number 8 spot, Ray Perkowski's Evil Force tow truck, the big 22,000-pounder that we saw qualify well here today, ended up in the number 8 position overall going into next week's event. In the super modified mud racing standings, though, still not much has changed. 2-time world champion Tom Martin in the Mud Patrol 1932 Ford still leads with 695 points, about 130 more than the quickest Ford on the Camel Tour this year, the incredible Mystic Warrior of the Ward family from Pennsylvania. Meanwhile, though, in the second half of the top 10, you'll see a few changes, not the least of which has to do with the man who is sitting right down the number 10 spot, the Ground Zero entry. Driven by Jeff Sturkin out of Michigan, who finished number 2 in the world last year, he has broken into the top 10. Believe it or not, right now, number 10 driver has as many points as the number 1 driver did a year ago. That's how tough things are getting. In the number 6 spot, the Nitro Express of Missouri's Clay Langley, the winningest mud racer in U.S. Hot Rod Association history, we saw here tonight, is currently in 6th. In the meantime, we also have, as we pointed out earlier, a very special address that people need to copy down, Jerry, if they want to be a part of this.
Well, that's right, Brett. They can become an associate member in the United States Hot Rod Association simply by putting down their name, address, city, state, and zip on a postcard or a piece of paper and send it to the address that you see here on the screen. Now, you're going to receive advance notice of events that come into your area. You're also going to receive tickets at a discount. Now, there's no dues to pay. There's no cards to carry. So make sure that you fill that out today and send it either on a postcard or a piece of paper, your name, your address, city, state, and zip. Do it today so you won't forget, and you'll be signed up as an associate member in the United States Hot Rod Association.
Should probably point out, Jerry, that something else that people can get are decals, U.S. Hot Rod Association decals, the Camel Mud Monster Series decals, and, of course, T-shirts, hats, jerseys, and posters. Some of those popular items we see at each and every U.S. Hot Rod Association event. Some 64 U.S. Hot Rod Association events, I might add, this year. And right down, Jerry, with Bigfoot still leading the field, I would seem to think this is probably going to change in the next couple of weeks.
I would certainly think so, Brett. But, you know, each and every week, these drivers have to keep the pedal down. The pressure is on. We're going to be going to Tampa next.
That's right. Tampa, Florida, the quickest and fastest mud track in the world. Still the only 100-foot-long mud pit with a 1-second elapsed time track record, and it will be wild. We'll also get a chance to see Tom Martin, the 2-time world champion with the Mud Patrol 1932 Ford. He'll be in attendance there, and Bigfoot trying to defend that points lead. In any case, on behalf of myself, Brett Kepner, and Jerry Devine, we'd like to thank each and every one of you for being with us on this particular edition of U.S. Hot Rod Association's Championship Series, and we'll see you next from Tampa, Florida. Until then, thanks for being with us. This has been an SRO Pace Promotion production in association with ESPN.